I can't stop thinking about you, and I can't go another day without making love to you.
The end is near for travelers frustrated with a pilot sickout. Psychedelic drugs make a return to the metro area. And we'll show you how to clean up the chaos that's taken over your desk. Fox 4 News at 9 starts now.
From Kansas City's 24-hour news channel, this is Fox 4 News at 9.
Hello and welcome to Fox 4 News at 9 this Monday night. I'm John Holt.
And I'm Harris Faulkner, in tonight for Monica Parise. Tonight's top story, the crunch is finally over for weary travelers trying to fly American Airlines. 10 days ago, pilots started a sickout, stranding more than 500,000 passengers. Fox 4's Kim Burns is at the American Airlines terminal at KCI with the latest. Good evening, Kim.
Hi, Harris. No cancellations here tonight at KCI. You can see the arrivals and departures boards here behind us. American Airline officials tell us they plan to be running at 100% again tomorrow. But of course, for passengers flying today, that's one day too late.
When I got to Chicago O'Hare, my flight was canceled from Chicago to Kansas City, so I was forced to take United flight.
Bob Parnasari is one of thousands of American Airlines passengers put out by the sickout. And after having to take another airline to Kansas City, he worried his flight back to Chicago would be canceled too. Fortunately for him, that didn't turn out to be the case.
They said they're up and running 100% at this point in time, which is a great relief.
On Monday, 800 American Airlines pilots were still listed as sick. That number's down from nearly 2,500 pilots last week.
I did have a problem getting out here.
Marie Mayer couldn't get a flight into Kansas City this weekend to visit her parents, but she will get home on schedule.
They said it takes 3 days for everything to get back to normal, but there's no problems at the airport today. I think it kind of scared a couple of the travelers away from using American maybe for a couple days.
Only 3 flights were canceled at KCI on Monday. That's compared to 230 across the country. That was especially good news for the Mullins as they waited to pick up their granddaughter Megan. She was flying alone for the first time.
We called and checked today and they said that the flight was going to be on time and took off, so we're here to pick her up.
The pilots decided to end the 10-day sickout after a federal judge held the pilots union and 2 of its top officials in contempt and threatened huge fines. But for Megan, everything ran smoothly, and she does plan to fly American again. And again, it's expected to be business as usual again at American Airlines tomorrow. And I bet we'll hear a collective sigh of relief from passengers across the country who are holding American tickets. Harris, back to you.
Yeah, not to mention, Kim, all those flight attendants and ticket agents who had to deal with everybody's attitudes in this whole thing.
Absolutely. They've had a really good attitude out here tonight, though.
All right, Kim Burns reporting live. Thank you.
You bet.
A deadly police shooting this weekend in a small Kansas town generates a lot of controversy tonight as we follow it up. It happened over the weekend in Osawatomie. That's about 45 minutes south of Kansas City. Today, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation returned personal items found on the victim's body, a watch and a couple of rings. Family and friends gathered at the home and the scene of the raid. Across town, meantime, a meeting to talk about what should be done next. The family says police startled Willie Hurd and he fired in self-defense. Police say they shouted search warrant before breaking in, but say Willie pointed his rifle at them. Family members tonight call it murder.
I do. I really do. There's no other meaning. It is murder. They killed my brother.
The KBI, as we mentioned, now investigating. It won't comment on the case. A report is due out in about a week.
The victim of last week's gas station murder was laid to rest today. Tommy Greger was shot to death last Monday morning during a robbery attempt. He was working an overnight shift at the Service Oil gas station at 31st and Mersington. A suspect is in federal custody tonight on another charge. Greger leaves behind a wife and 2 small children. Some metro area doctors are opposing Missouri's concealed weapon referendum set to appear on the April ballot. Doctors at Truman Medical Center say allowing people to carry concealed weapons will only increase the number of shootings. Last year, the hospital treated 220 shooting victims. Those in favor of the bill argue concealed weapons laws in other states helped cut crime.
A concrete company wants to move into the Red Bud Road area south of Bannister, but a nearby school says it will fight the proposal. The Spofford School cares for kids with behavioral problems. School officials fear a construction site right next door will distract the kids from their lessons, not to mention the danger posed by trucks rumbling so close to them. School officials also worry about the learning environment.
We are kind of isolated here. It's a very kind of bucolic, country-like setting. Wild animals come up in the front yard. And
The company, TSC, says the site is far enough from the school. Both sides will discuss the project at a zoning meeting February 23rd. Culture shock for metro area police. The psychedelic days of the 60s and 70s are making a comeback on the drug scene. Fox 4's Tom Gower is in our newsroom with more on this return of a 60s drug culture, Tom.
Well, after all but disappearing for a generation, heroin came roaring back, giving its users a more potent high than 30 years ago. Now the psychedelics, LSD, mushrooms, and the like are coming back as well. Slick marketing means your kids could grow up with the drugs you grew up with. Mushrooms and acid are already back in vogue in California. Law enforcement knows what is big on the coasts eventually ends up here. They've already seen the evidence. After a brief comeback in the mid-90s, the hallucinogens are enjoying new life with the 60s and 70s retro craze. Overland Park police attribute the resurgence to a budget price. Sometimes for less than $1, LSD can produce an 8-hour high. Smaller doses erase the fear associated with the infamous bad trips, and some users believe using acid is safer than smoking marijuana. But the blast from the past still has a very dangerous downside.
Flashbacks can be very troubling, and those are a common part of LSD use, and those can be very difficult for people to deal with even after they've stopped using.
One of the greatest concerns among mental health professionals is the age of users. Most of a child's cognitive and emotional development takes place during the time when kids are starting to use. The drugs essentially bring that development to a screeching halt. John?
All right, Tom Gower in the newsroom. Tom, thanks.
Missouri lawmakers are trying to figure out how to keep most of the national tobacco settlement. Under the Hancock Amendment, a portion of the $6.7 billion settlement would go to taxpayers if it's put into the state treasury. Lawmakers say one option is to put the money into a trust fund until a series of legal challenges are settled. Mother Nature has been pretty generous with us lately with warm weather. How long will that last? Meteorologist Mike Thompson. Mike?
Well, a few more hours at least, Harris. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit colder, but actually getting closer to normal. Today was fabulous. We hit the middle 60s and in some cases a little higher than that around town, as you'll see in a little bit. As for right now, it's still in the 50s in the downtown area, upper 40s in some of the suburbs. The winds have turned to the northwest, and overnight tonight will fall down to about 33 degrees, rebounding to 41 tomorrow. We will see some sunshine in the afternoon. Not a bad day. But, you know, after 65, 41 sounds maybe not as appealing as it might. We've got a full look at the forecast. I've made some changes to the end of the week's forecast and the Long Ranger, and I've got a President's Day special Stump the Anchor for you coming up in just a few minutes, Harris.
Oh, we are just so excited about that. Fabulous in February. You can't beat that from
Not
today.
a bad deal.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
And a happy President's Day. It's just a day off for many of you, but some Kansas Cityans are taking time to remember our nation's leaders. We caught up with one family today visiting the Truman Library. They've done so every President's Day for 6 years. The newcomers say it's a fun way to teach their kids about the presidents, one in particular. At 9:34, we're going to talk to more people using their extra day this holiday to learn about our nation's leaders.
All right, so you're moving in with a couple of your best buddies. Here's the scenario. But one of them moves out. Who pays their share of the rent? At 9:40, Fox 4 Consumer Your Rights has information you should know before you sign that lease.
With the help of friends. And if your desk is so messy you can't see over those piles of paperwork, sound familiar? Help is on the way. Focus 4 tips for cutting corporate clutter at 9:28.
How does Senator Clinton sound to you? Well, we'll try it out for size straight ahead of the Fox Satellite Center. Stay with us, everybody.
You're watching Fox 4 News at 9. With John Holt, Monica Paris, Chief Meteorologist Mike Thompson, and Sports Director Frank Ball. More news in less time. Fox 4 News goes non-stop at 10 with essential news and weather before the first commercial break. Then you get News Extra, only on Fox 4 News at 10.
Everyone has childhood memories, but this Johnson County woman is putting hers in Rugrats books and selling over 1 million copies. How she did it tonight on Fox 4 News at 10.
It's the most amazing trick ever. But can Hank learn the secret? It's done with twins. Don't do it. An all-new King of the Hill. Then, it's the biggest thing to hit prime time.
You all know what's behind every strong black man.
A slower white athlete.
An all-new PJs.
Tuesday night at 7 on Fox 4.
Hi everybody, I'm Phil Witt in the Fox 4 Newsroom. New tonight at 10, whether you have kids or not, you've probably heard their names. They're Chucky, Angela, and Tommy, the Rugrats. And you may be surprised to know there's a Kansas City connection to these characters. We'll tell you about it. Also, new at 10, it's been 200 years since President George Washington died. We'll now see how his legacy is living on in a new way this President's Day. Watch for those stories and much more tonight on Fox 4 News at 10.
Over the years, we've packed Dodge Caravan with lots of innovative features, while Caravan owners have packed it with everything else. As a result, it's risen to lofty heights as America's best-selling minivan and a Consumer's Digest Best Buy 10 years running. So to stay on top, we're offering this Caravan with air, 7-passenger seating, and more for just $239 a month. Climb aboard Dodge Caravan. We think you'll like it up here. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Somewhere in your heart, try to find a place for me. Somewhere in your heart, I won't care where it is.
These heartbeats are brought to you by the cardiac care professionals at North Kansas City Hospital. We have your best interests at heart.
Hey, Homer. Homer. I come here, about once a month. But this one, he's here once a week.
Hey, Glenda, look at here. You never go directly to what you want. You've got to roam around. Just what I've been looking for. Every now and then you find things you just are total surprise. Holy smokes. But every time we come in the door, she'll see something.
Look, insulated.
In fact, this morning,
My goodness.
she immediately found something she couldn't live without.
I have a good eye.
Well, she does have a good eye. She got me.
President Clinton in Mexico with a renewed pledge to fight drug trafficking. We welcome you to the Fox Satellite Center. The president has wrapped up his 24-hour summit with Mexican President Ernesto Zedillo. The two leaders met at a hacienda in the Yucatan where they signed an accord in the fight against drug smuggling. The drug pact comes as a deadline approaches for Mr. Clinton. He must decide whether Mexico is doing enough to stop illegal drugs. If the president decides Mexico isn't, the country loses U.S. aid. While in Mexico, the president offered his opinion about politics and his wife, saying Hillary Clinton would make a great senator. Fox's Jane Skinner reports on the prospects of the First Lady making a run for the Senate in New York.
If the First Lady runs for the U.S. Senate in the year 2000, she will certainly be the highest profile candidate on the ballot. And if she runs for the seat New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan is vacating, chances are it will be one of the most expensive races ever. That would be especially true if Mrs. Clinton is pitted against New York City Mayor and possible Republican frontrunner Rudy Giuliani.
You're probably talking together perhaps $40 million.
If last year's New York Senate race is an indicator, it could go even higher. Then Senator Al D'Amato spent about $24 million. His Democratic challenger, Chuck Schumer, topped the $16 million mark for a combined total of more than $40 million. But Schumer, who won that race, doesn't think financing will be a problem for the First Lady.
I think Hillary would not have much trouble raising the money and putting together the committee.
Political insiders say if he decides to run, Mayor Giuliani would give Hillary Clinton a run for the money.
Giuliani, for example, his extraordinary performance as mayor of New York, bringing the city back from almost complete fiscal collapse and huge crime rates when he started. Clinton can't make it on fame alone. She has to come up with issues that matter and performance that she could point to.
New York Democrats are not the only ones pulling for the First Lady. Not surprisingly, she's got the support of the Commander-in-Chief.
I think she would be terrific in this sense, but that's a decision that she'll have to make.
With less than 2 years to go to Election Day 2000 and an estimated $20 million war chest still to be raised, decision time may not be far off for the First Lady. In New York, Jane Skinner, Fox News.
So far, the First Lady has not indicated what her plans are, but she is reportedly planning to do some talking in the next few weeks. Meantime, a top aide to President Nixon who went to prison for Watergate is dead tonight. John Ehrlichman passed away from natural causes at his home in Atlanta. He was 73. Ehrlichman went to prison for 18 months for obstruction of justice, conspiracy, and perjury for trying to cover up the Watergate burglary. A deadly day for Texas firefighters near Dallas. A church roof collapsed, killing 3 firefighters trapped by the rubble. 4 other firefighters wound up in the hospital with injuries. It took crews 2 hours to recover the victims. It is not known tonight what sparked the blaze, but strong winds made fighting that fire very difficult. A commando raid, the talk of town tonight along the east coast of Texas. A counterterrorism exercise caught residents of 2 small towns by surprise over the weekend, to say the least. Residents saw low-flying helicopters. Even a fire erupted at an old police barracks as part of a Delta Force training mission. The Army insists the public was never in any danger. A health club in San Francisco touched off a protest over the weekend by overweight advocates. A health club's billboard showing a hungry space alien reads, "When they come, they'll eat the fat ones first." More than 30 overweight people hit the streets in protest, even working out on the sidewalk, performing some low-impact aerobics.
There are a lot of women out there who are fat women, a lot of fat men, and they work out regularly and they're healthy. And that's the kind of thing that we're trying to say in being here today, is that it's not about what you look like, it's not about being thin, it's about being healthy in whatever body you have.
The health club 24-Hour Fitness says the billboards are nothing more than a joke, not meant to offend anyone. Well, beginning tomorrow, you can own a piece of O.J. Simpson. That $33.5 million civil judgment for the deaths of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman, forcing Simpson to auction off some prized possessions, jerseys and the like, including O.J.'s Heisman Trophy. And we have a Valentine postscript for you tonight from the Federation Starship Enterprise.
If your days ahead should encounter negative forces.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. 4 couples beamed aboard this Star Trek recreation in Las Vegas to get hitched. Before the actual ceremony, the couples went on a top-secret mission, including a warp-speed journey across the galaxy. Apparently no truth to the rumor that Captain Picard officiated at the ceremonies. There you have it. That's some of what's making national and world news on this Monday night. Harris, back to you on the bridge.
Okay. Thanks, John. I wish I had that little triangle there. Time for a reality check for those of you living with roommates. Later at 9:40, we'll give you the lowdown on the pitfalls of living with your friends who could become your enemies.
Live long and prosper. Hopefully this good weather's leaving on good terms, because what's replacing it is not quite as appealing. We'll take a look at that, and a President's Day special, Stump the Anchors, right around the corner.
Hey, Ross has a secret talent. Bitchin'. And Chandler.
I kissed Kathy.
Does Joey know? Has a secret affair.
Did you sleep with her? No, I just kissed her. What? That's even worse. How is that worse? I don't know, but it's the same.
Next Friends.
After the news at 10, watch Fox 4 Friends.
These physicians couldn't believe their eyes. A 7-inch knife, a man's skull, a medical miracle that's a world record, and all new Guinness.
Tuesday night at 8 on Fox 4.
I'm a busy guy, so it's hard for me to remember stuff.
Thurman. Spot.
There are a lot of things I just can't keep track of.
Morning.
Phone numbers and area codes. That's a big one. So when I heard 1411 can give me any number in the country, I was all over it. Now I don't have to remember any area codes. All I have to do is dial a number even I remember. Now, is it the big one or the little one?
Imagine TV.
A local man got more than he bargained for at his Mercury dealer.
And here's a golden opportunity from your Mercury dealer. The Gold Edition Mercury Mountaineer with a look that's pure gold. A $695 value at no extra charge and no first month's payment up to $500. Plus, check out the new '99 4-door Villager and register to win a Caribbean cruise.
Even I'm impressed.
Until next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Fox 4 weather is brought to you by Hardee's.
It's a dead heat coming out of the turn. Martin splits an opening and roars through it. Mark Martin takes it wide, very wide. He's leaving the track.
Hardee's Frisco Combo. Crispy bacon, tomato, and melted Swiss cheese served on grilled sourdough bread with fries and a drink for only $2.99.
Martin is through the gate and back on the track.
The $2.99 Frisco Combo, now at Hardee's.
A rumbling volcano is forcing the evacuation of 7 towns in Mexico. The tremors are coming from the so-called volcano of fire. The volcano located on the Pacific coast surprised scientists late last year when it started spewing lava after decades of being relatively calm.
You know, anytime I see volcanoes like that,
yeah,
I always realize that no matter how bad your forecast is, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's not coming off of a mountain. You know what I mean?
There won't be any lava coming down
Molten
Brush
lava
Creek.
coming in our direction.
Well, we don't think so. At this point, then
well, if you can't see it on Doppler, we are in trouble.
Well, I remember the movie Volcano. It sprouted right in the middle of L.A. I mean, you know, here it came right
Mike,
in the middle of it.
It was fiction.
Tommy Lee Jones stopped it all, though, as I recall, and everything was fine.
It was
sure hope he's hanging around.
I hope so, too. Hey, we've got a great Stump the Anchors for you tonight.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And this one you should be able to, I'm sure, one of our crack crew, or Harris or John knows this one. Which president died as a result of riding in a cold rain at his inaugural? Was it Zachary Taylor, Benjamin Harrison, Warren Harding, or William Harrison? Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a couple
Sure.
years. And we'll have the correct answer, I'm sure, coming up in just a few minutes. Okay, let's move right through here and take a look at today. And we started off nice and mild this morning, although windy. 47 degrees up in Parkville, 50 in the downtown area, 47 at KCI. Out toward New Century Airport, 47 degrees this morning. Sibley hit 46. And this afternoon, we saw readings in the mid to upper 60s around town. Out toward Odessa, 65 degrees from David Stevens. We did have a call, 70 degrees in Overland Park this afternoon. It was a nice day, and the winds have dropped off now and shifted to the northwest as this front has moved on through. You see the cold air behind it up to the north. This is not cold. This is a return to normal. Of course, normal is about 40 degrees for this time of the year, and we hit the mid-60s this afternoon. Out there right now with a light north wind, we have dropped to 48 degrees. We got some freezing temperatures up north, and that's what's heading our way tonight. Still some 60s now to the south. And a storm system is coming out of the Rockies, but most of the moisture is concentrated to our south. So although we're seeing an increase in cloud cover now, the best chance of rain is going to be south of Kansas City. We're monitoring the radars out to our southwest. Here's NextRad 4 out of Wichita. And although we are seeing echoes up through here, the air is just bone dry. And so this is probably evaporating on the way down. And again, the best chance of rain staying down to the south. In fact, this is some shower activity developing in Oklahoma. And that will probably make it up into southeast Kansas and across the Missouri Ozarks to our south overnight tonight. By tomorrow, it's gone. And we should see a return to some sunshine by the afternoon hours. Out west, once this passes by, we have a nice spell for Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we'll have a system that'll develop as a result of this. It's going to be kind of strange. Thursday could go either way. It could really warm up quite rapidly. I think it's probably going to tend to stay in the 40s on Thursday, and we might get a few showers, but the system is going to intensify once it passes on by, as has been the case with almost every storm we've seen this winter so far. So it doesn't look like a big deal, just going to keep temperatures on the chillier side for the end of the week, as you'll see in a moment. So we had this front passing by tonight. The winds have shifted to the northwest. A second front, a much colder front, will arrive during the day tomorrow, but the cold air just sort of clips us, and we actually have drier air pushing in from the west. So after some morning clouds, we'll go out into afternoon sun. We should make it at least to the upper 30s, if not lower 40s. And then on Wednesday, we have a surge of warmer air coming back, mid to upper 40s on Wednesday. And we'll see about Thursday. It looks like a strange day. Here are the current readings. 48 KCI, 50 degrees downtown. Our humidity is about 56%. And overnight tonight, the clouds will be around. They'll get thicker. 33 for the overnight low with northwest winds around